Jay Haynes for the Film Sensei YouTube channel. Today in this video, I'm going to show how to create this binocular overlay in the free version of HitFilm. HitFilm free. I apologize, but while recording this tutorial, my screen capture software did not record the mouse cursor. As a result, I have placed highlight circles and other visual cues for you to follow along. So you'll notice that I'm working in HitFilm Pro, but that doesn't mean that this won't work in HitFilm Free, because it does. So I'm going to start by creating a new composite shot, and I will label that binocular overlay. I'll go ahead and leave it at 920 by 1080 and click OK. So now that I have this, I want to set up a couple of folders. I will click on the new folder icon, and this folder I will call comps, because I'm going to place my nested comps in there. And then I will also create a folder called planes, and I will put all my planes in there. I need to probably not have that in the comps folder. So before I begin the process of making this, I went out and I looked at a few binocular overlays. So I just went to Google and typed in binocularoverlay.png and hit enter. And then I went ahead and clicked on these images, and I just sort of looked through them. And these are pretty cool. I really like this one, right? It's got these little four corners thing here. It's got these hash marks there, right? And you can kind of look around and see this. It has a crossbar to it and that sort of a thing. So what I did was I went ahead and downloaded one just as a reference photo. Getting good reference photos is absolutely the way to go when you're building something in HitFilm. So I'm going to constantly be referring back to this reference photo as I go along. We'll just drop that down. First, we want to create each eye of the binocular look. So I'm going to start by creating a new plane layer, but instead of making it a width of 920 by 1080, I'm going to make it 1080 by 1080, and I'm just going to call this eye and click OK, and then I will put that in the planes folder. And this, I will now add a elliptical mask. I can do that by coming up here, holding and clicking on this, and then selecting elliptical mask. Now I can go ahead and double click on that, and you'll see that it has created a circle. Okay. So right now you can't tell that there's a transparency happening here. So what I'm going to do is under options, I will go ahead and click on checkerboard background. So now you can see that there is a background that is transparent behind this circle. What I'm going to do is transform the position of this eye to the left eye. And for this demonstration, I'm going to use 370 pixels to the left. You can make that whatever you want, okay? Also, I want to go ahead and under the mask, open up the shape properties and feather this to the inside only. So I'm going to change that to in, and I'm going to feather it about 120 pixels worth, right? Just enough of a feather around here. Again, that would be to taste though. Now that I've done that, I will go ahead and right click and duplicate that. And then under that one, I will move this over to positive 370. So now I have both eyes of the binoculars. However, everything is inverted. Where the transparency is, I don't want it to be transparent. And where it is not transparent, I do want it to be transparent. So I'm just going to add a new grade layer. And then I will search under the effects for invert alpha effect, and I will drop that onto the grade layer. So now I have the basic binoculars look. Grabbing all of these, I will now right click and say make into a composite shot, and I will call this binoculars and click OK. So now I have binoculars as its own composite shot, and if I go back to the binocular overlay, you can see that this is a single layer. Back in the media tab, I'll go ahead and take that binoculars and I will put it in the comps folder. Okay, so now let's start working on developing some of these. Let's start with a crosshair first. I'm going to start by creating a new plane again, and this one I'm going to call crosshair. And I will set the width of this to be 300, and I will set the height of this to be only 5 pixels. And click OK. Go ahead and put that in the planes comp and drag it here into this. You can see it. It's black at this moment. And if you look at the reference photo, you'll see that these are all black. But I actually, to make them easier to see, am going to go ahead and put a fill color on it, and it will be white. I can always remove that fill color if I want it to be black, or I can change that fill color to be any color that I want. For example, red, okay? But for now, I'm just going to leave it white. And what I will do is right-click on that and duplicate it. And then this will be the vertical crosshair, and all I have to do is just adjust the rotation by 90. And now I have my crosshairs. So let's go ahead and select both of those, right-click, and make a composite shot. We'll call this crosshairs and click OK. So now these are in their own new composite shot. Coming back over to the binocular overlay, let's go ahead and put the crosshairs into the comp folder. All right, the next thing that we're going to create will be the four corners effect. So I'm going to make a new plane. This time I'll do it in the comp just to be a little bit different. We're going to call this four corners plane. And we're going to make this 1400 pixels by 600 pixels. And this is actually to taste. You can make this however you want. But when I click OK, you can see that I've created a box or a rectangle here in the middle of this, right? Again, I want to go ahead and put a fill color in there. And before I go any further, let me go back to the media and just take that and drop that into the planes to keep everything nice and clean in here. Okay, so now with the masking tools open, and let's look at the reference here, you can see that these are a little bit rounded, right? Okay, look at how that is, right? So what I want to do is I want a rounded edge on that. So I'm going to click and hold on the masking tool to find the rounded rectangular mask. Then when I've selected that, I'll just double click. And now you can see it's rounded. You can actually adjust the rounding of that, but I'm not going to. I think 25 is good. Again, that's to taste. Okay, so now I'll take that mask, right click, and duplicate it. And the second one I will change to subtract. Now if I open up that second one and under shape, I adjust the expansion, I can adjust that about maybe 10 pixels. And I now have this complete box around here. So now how do I just make the corners and cut out those ends? Well, that's actually pretty easy to do. What I'm going to do is under the masks again, I will go ahead and select the regular rectangle mask, and I will go ahead and just double click on it to create a perfectly rectangular mask. Then I will select add and make that subtract instead. Using the selection tool, I can now go ahead and bring this in to about where I want and then adjust it like this. It looks pretty good, maybe about there. Okay. Now if I go ahead and duplicate that, I can go ahead and adjust this again, but going to the other side. And I'll just sort of eyeball that until I think it looks pretty good. And basically, there's my four corners. That was pretty easy. Now, if I want, I can create a second four corners here. And I do want, so what I'm going to do is just right-click on the four corners and duplicate it. And then I'll change the scale to something like 50% so that there's a second one inside of the first one. And those will be my four corners. So I'm just going to go ahead and select both of those, right-click, say make into a composite shot, and then I will label that as the four corners and click OK. So now we have this new composite shot created, and everything is very neat in here. Going back to the media, I'll go and take that four corners and drop it into the comps folder so that I can keep that clean as well. Let's go ahead and add some concentric circles here to the middle of this. And again, all of this is to taste. I'm going to start by creating a new plane, and I'm going to call this plane circle. And I'm going to make this plane exactly 200 by 200. And again, this is simply to taste. So now I have this plane. I'm going to fill color it. I will, again, just like I did before, click and hold on the masking tool, selecting elliptical mask, and then I'll double click on it to make a circle. Now to create a line, what I will do is right click on the mask and duplicate it. And just like I did before, I will change the blend mode to subtract, opening up the shape. I will then go ahead and make it say -10. Yeah, make it a 10, looks pretty good. Okay, now right-clicking on that, I can go ahead and duplicate it, and then I can change the scale of that to, say, 50, and I can add another circle. If I go ahead and right-click and duplicate it one more time, then on that one, I can maybe make that 25. And if I really want to, I can go in here and pull up the masks and disable that second mask to make a solid circle in the middle, sort of like a scope, a sniper scope. So I like that. That looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and select all three of those, right click, make it into a composite shot called circles, and click OK. Back in the main comp again, I will go ahead and put the binocular, or sorry, the circle in the planes folder and the circles comp in the comps folder. And so now I'm feeling pretty good about that. Now let's talk about the maybe putting a little bit of a grid item, and this doesn't have it, but remember we saw it and I kind of liked it. I thought it was pretty cool looking. So we can do that. We'll start by creating a new plane, and this time we'll just match that plane to the timeline, and we're just going to call this plane grid and click OK. Now, if I find the effects and I type in the term grid, I can search for and add a grid effect to this plane. If I drop it underneath, you can see that it's covered by the previous ones, right? And now if I open up the grid properties under point 1, I can go ahead and just adjust this slightly. Maybe I'll make this, and actually I've already done this, so I know what I'm going to do. It's going to be 43.2 because that's what I liked. And I'm going to make this -90, just sliding it down ever so slightly. And I changed the border radius to 2, but you can mess with this all that you want, okay? That's what I like, and that's how it's going to be. And I'm going to right click on this and go ahead and make it into a composite shot now, which I will call grid. And I will move everything along with it. So when I click OK, it all comes over here into this new composite shot. Let's go into the media tab, and we'll just go ahead and drop that into the comps. And I can also, by the way, go ahead and drop the grid into the planes as well, just to keep things neat and tidy. Back in the main binoculars overlay, I'll go ahead and bring this back up to the top. And I'm just going to use this piece. So again, I will left click on the masking tool and select rectangular mask. And then I will come down here and just select from there to there roughly. Before I go any further, I'm going to open up the transform properties and just reset both of those. And now it should be relatively even. If I then use the selection tool, I can go ahead and pull this in right to the edge, and hopefully it's pulled in right to the edge there. It's not exactly. That's okay though. I'm going to go ahead and do this one next just to get it there. And you'll notice that I'm not exactly there, so I'm just going to pull this out slightly. And we'll see how far over it is over. So I may have to just adjust the position of the mask ever so slightly. Oh, there's my problem, is that it's a little bit off. There, okay, let's see how that looks. And that does look pretty good. I think I will just edge that in a touch. And I'm going to come back over here. Yeah, that looks great. Okay. And so now I have that little grid ticking there. And if I want to add one to the top, that would be a simple matter of just right-clicking and duplicating that, and then opening up the properties of that, and I could just unlink the scale properties and then just flip the Y scale so that I have that there. Okay, so now that I have created my entire binocular overlay, it's a simple matter of creating a bunch of transparent PNG files that you can then use in your projects. So this is the one that we're going to use. It's export frame. And what I will do is I will click on this, and then I will look at these formats here. So format will be PNG, and then the channels, we want the RGBA. The A stands for alpha, so it actually includes the alpha channels, okay? And I'm just going to have this go to my pictures folder for now, so I will just click OK. Now, because this is titled Untitled Project, if I actually go to that folder, you'll see that it's referred to as Untitled Project, and then it references the frame that my playhead is actually on. If I go back here and I were to do something like remove the grids, and then I wanted to export it again, it would replace the one that is here. I don't necessarily want to replace that, so what I would do instead is advance the playhead by one frame, and then I can say export. Now when I go back to that folder, there are two of them, and one of them, if I bring it up, you can see is this one, and the other one is one without the grids or the little tick marks on it, right? So then I could go ahead and export these one at a time. So if I bring these up here, and I go ahead and advance a frame, and let's get rid of the circles. And now I would say export. Now let's get rid of the four corners. Okay. Let's advance one and get rid of the crosshairs. And let's add just the grid, just the circles and the crosshairs, and so on and so forth. So that way you can create a bunch of them. And when I look in that folder, then I have a bunch of these that I can reference. So I'm looking at this, and then I have that one and 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 so on and so forth, right? And then what I would go ahead and do is just rename all of those in this folder to match whatever overlays. And then I might want to go back in here and change the color of that. So remember, we can do that by going actually into each one of those. So for example, the circles, and if I just do a real quick search for fill, I will find all of the fill colors, and I can just make adjustments here like this, and one more like this. And now when I go back into the main, it's red, okay? Or the other way to do it would be to go back to fill, and then, for example, on the crosshairs, we'll drop a fill color here, and we'll just do it here. And it will do it directly in this as well. And maybe I want one of them to be red, and I want one of them to be green, right? And let's say I want the four corners to be blue. And then I can add in the tick marks, the grids, and maybe make them white or something like that. And I can come up with a whole bunch of these different ways of exporting them and having all of these available for me. And if I go back to my reference photos and I look around, I probably can come up with some more ideas as well. If you look in the description of this video, I will leave a link to a bunch of these overlays already done for you. I'm Jay Haynes for the Film Sensei YouTube channel, and this has been how to create binocular overlays in HitFilm Free. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, and please consider subscribing to the Film Sensei YouTube channel. Also, click the bell icon so you won't miss a thing. Thanks for watching.